Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Well, hello, good evening and welcome. It's Wednesday evening again, which means that it's time for the best night of the week. Yes. Hang on, no. Second best night of the week behind any game day. Yes, this is the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. My name's Dave Parkinson. Delighted as ever to be talking Rugby League. And across the table from me, it's none other than the man who makes me sound great every single week. It's Steve Beech. How are you doing, Steve? You okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm not doing so bad, Parker. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it takes a lot of editing.
All right, we'll do this time.
Yeah, mind you saying that, the other show that I do, it takes a lot more editing. Yeah, they go off freestyling and you're trying to rein them back in. So, to be fair, Park, we
do okay.
Yeah, I think we do very well, actually.
We do okay. So, what are we going to talk about over the course of the next hour or so? Well, we've got a couple of really good guests, actually. So once again, I've been dipping my toe into the Lions' water. I've been visiting the Lions' Den. We're talking England Community Lions, of course, and I got to have a chat with Elijah Delaidriti and also to Elliott Cousins. And we've got a feature-length interview, a rather in-depth one, with Lions Open Age head coach Paul Couch, all about his selections and the selection process as well for the Lions over the course of the past few months, and looking forward to the Western Australia tour, which I was pleasure to be with the lads on Sunday, I should say, Steve, and they were all given all the call-up papers, all the letters.
So it's narrowed down to the final numbers now, squad-wise.
The final numbers, yeah. I think we touched on them last week, didn't we? Because I think it had just been released, or was just in the process of getting released at that particular stage. So there's a final 22-player squad that has been named, and we went all the way through the squad, to be honest, and he was giving his little bits of feedback.
That's good.
But yeah, I really like the fact that I got a call-up letter as well as the players.
Did it say, Dave, bring your boots?
No, I don't think they're that desperate. I don't think anybody is that desperate, to be honest. Those boots haven't been laced up since I was 20, so they're a bit underused, I think it would be fair to say. But it was fantastic to sort of see the faces of the players being presented this, and the training T-shirts as well for the session. So we've got a lot. A lot to look forward to, I think, over the next few months. And
it's important, isn't it, as well, Dave? I think we state this time and time again from a representative rugby, certainly from a community point of view, because we go on about how so many people, try and obviously aspire to being professional and don't always make it. You get people who don't want to go that route, but they want to do as best that they can where they are, as it were, and to have this now to just take it that little bit step higher. I mean, it's absolutely excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, I'm a big fan of what's been achieved through the Lions programme, and certainly since I've been involved, it's expanded what's felt like year on year. Yeah. So I think the first round of games that I got to be involved in was under 16s, then there was an under 19s, and then there was an under 23s.
Yeah.
And there'd been an open age tour the previous season, I think, or that season, just as I was getting involved. So to see it in 5 years, the way that it's gone, where there's now under 16 representation, under 17 representation, under 19s, we've got under 23s, we've got open age, and we've got women's.
Yeah. So the opportunities there for countless groups of
right the way
players,
through,
isn't it?
Yeah, right the way through, to be honest. And even when you look at the last Physical Disability World Cup, the England team came under the England Community Lions banner.
Yeah. That's right,
So even there, you're getting there's loads of opportunities, and that's something that is really good. But I'm hoping that everyone will enjoy the interviews that we've got coming up. We've also got our usual look back at what's happened in the National Conference League over the past weekend. If you can tell my cold-ridden voice, there was some fantastic results. Mentioned in no particular names, Egremont Rangers. But yeah, we'll talk
do you know
quite a bit about it.
Yeah, got to say this. You discussed, I think it's last week, and you've discussed this in the past, and I've seen this in action. Is you looking at results? At that time when they start coming through on your phone, because I know when we came back from Leeds, you were watching them come through on your phone and you were punching them over to me, such and such about it.
It genuinely excites me on a Saturday night. Is that saying about how far my Saturday nights have fallen, or the fact that I just love me rugby?
Well, I fell into that. I was hypnotised by that very same thing this weekend, and it was that. I was just flicking through. I thought, I'll go on the RFL website to see if any results are in. I was just and usually all you get is the first 7 are just still the kick-off times of the game, and then suddenly there'll be a result there. You go, let's have that one, and then you go down. There might be 2 together, and then obviously the one there with Egremont and Hunslet came through, and certainly then it was, and then there was a couple of others as well, but and that's. But it does. I totally agree with you. I'm hooked on that as well.
I get transfixed by it every Saturday evening. I need a life, really, don't I, to be honest? But yes. Right, where should we start? I think a great place to start would be the Holman Eagles and Carla League. It was round 7 at the weekend, and these are the results. So Egremont Rangers A26, Dissington A24. Cracking game, that one, by all accounts. This next one sounds like a corker as well. Askham 30, Cockermouth Titans 32. Flimby Vikings 4, Kells A 34. Maryport 24, Glasson Rangers 0. And finally, but by no means least, you've got Wathbrow Hornets A 38, Aspatria Hornets 12. Some excellent results, and let's put a little bit more context, shall we, to those. This is courtesy of the Cumbria Crack.
Is it an online paper?
It's an online paper, for the Cumbrian region, and there's some fantastic local sport on there. So they've included this write-up. So the latest round of the Holman Eagles and Cumberland ARL matches included 2 very tight and exciting games. Egremont A edged out Dissington A 26-24, while Cockermouth Titans squeezed home, and this says 34-32 at Askham. So at Egremont, the home team scored tries through Cian Sharp, Jordan Moyes, Jack Pye, Dylan Scott and Richard Farrer, with 3 goals from Lee Rogers. Harry Lamb was their man of the match. Dissington responded with tries from Zach Payne, who grabbed 2. Man of the match Tom Glover, Ethan Black and Bailey Worthington, Black also kicking 2 goals. Now, Kevin Brown, he's the Egremont coach, he said it was a very good game between 2 young, enthusiastic sides with a sprinkling of old heads. Overall, thought it was a great win for us. We led 12-10 at half-time and rather pulled away before Dissington came strongly at the end. The pleasing thing for me, though, was the improvement we showed from the last game. His opposite number, Ryan Hodson, added, "It was a superb game between 2 young, energetic and evenly matched sides. Both teams threw everything at each other with very little between them. It was a clean encounter played in great spirit, and I think we had enough opportunities to have put the game to bed, but didn't execute our chances. I hope they will come in time." The other tight contest was in the south of the county. They've managed to put the scoring slightly different on this one, where newcomers Askham were close to their first win but were beaten 32-30. Askham coach Chris Broadley said it was a really competitive battle between 2 committed sides going ding-dong at it. We scored, they scored. They scored 2, we scored 2, but they won it with a late penalty. From our point of view, it was an improvement from our last game, and that's all that you can ask for. Rob Cockayne put in a really big performance for us, and Brad Kavanagh wasn't far behind. The Askham tries came courtesy of Luke McIntee, Cockayne, Dale Lampton, Zach Wright and Kavanagh, with Lewis Stables kicking 4 goals. Cockermouth, who led 22-10 at the break, they scored tries themselves through Luke Armstrong with his hat-trick, Lewis Shields And man of the match, Ryan Scott, with a name that we've been talking about quite a lot. Regan Tinian kicking 6 goals. Assistant coach for them, Jeff Clare, said it was a really good team effort against a committed Ascombe side. It was the kind of all-round team performance that sets us up for the rest of the season. There were lots of guts and determination on show, along with some skill as well, so onwards and upwards from here. There were also some outstanding individual performances, particularly young Spencer Fulton in the centre, Luke Armstrong, who scored a hat-trick of tries, and skipper Regan Tinian, who kicked well, including the last-minute penalty to win the game. Kells 8, they were 34-4 winners at Flimby, with tries from Dan Greers, Kieran Halcrow, Richard Marr, Arben Pervisage, and Keelan Parr and Connor Hetherington. Ross Gainford kicked 4 goals. Coach Jonathan Wignall, he said it was a good game. It was a good win, in a game that was played in a good spirit against a determined Flimby side. We had a large number of changes again in the team, with another debutant from the under-18s in Jamie Ray. Dylan Hurton made his first appearance of the season and was deservedly man of the match. We scored some nice tries on the back of some outstanding defence. We've got a week off now to prepare for the Amateur Cup quarter-final against Lauca. Nathan Kirkbride scored the Flimby try, and coach Ricky Morrison said, "We knew it would be a tough game with Kells being a well-drilled side, but our lads dug deep in the second half and gave a good account of themselves." Second row Sam Fearon, he's only 17 years of age and got our man of the match with his excellent defence and attack. It was great to see another youngster in Zach Bancroft put in a great performance too. I'd just like to thank Kells for donating a Wigan Academy shirt for us to raffle. I love this.
Yeah.
I love this about the Cumbrian game, because they all know that it's tough at the moment out there.
Yeah.
And they all seem to pull together, don't they? In the other game, Wathbrow A retained their 100% start to the season with a 38-12 home win over Aspatria after a hard-fought first half in which the Hornets eventually led by 20 points to 12. Jack Meadham with 2 tries, Luke Spivey, Jamie McAllister, man of the match Devon Sharp, Daly Stables and Nat Dugan scored the Hornets tries, with Matt Sibbald kicking 5 goals. Chris Beattie and Ben Tootle scored the Aspatria tries with 2 goals from Tootle. Bart Ridley from Aspatria said, "We were disappointed with the result, but not the performance. We led twice in the first half through good tries from Chris and Ben, the second after a great break from Mark Irwin. It was 14-12, but right on half-time, the Brow scored again in the second half. The Brow scored again, and in the second half, we were against the wind and the rain. The lads dug deep and held on for 20 minutes before they scored and went on to grab 2 late tries, which rather distorted the final score. Our penalty count was high, and I'm sure that's something that the coaching team will be working on this week." Fantastic little roundup there. We're definitely going to be tuning into the Cumbria Crack every week, aren't
definitely, yeah. Good write, really good write-up there.
Really good write-up.
Just looking at the Carla, Higgers Cumberland ARL.
You're getting confident now. You're getting confident.
Just looking at 13 teams in that division. I must admit that I like that. There's so many teams in one, and I suppose it's unlike this, the sort of Yorkshire men's area and the obviously the Northwest men's area, where you've got a lot of sides and you can have obviously a variety of divisions in your league. That makes for a good, so everybody's getting a good contest, aren't they?
Definitely, definitely. And if we look at the forerunners or the front runners of the competition, you've got Wathbrow Hornets A out on top with 10 points from their 5 wins from 5 games. Maryport also unbeaten as well with 5 wins from 5 games. Kells A tucked in just behind them with 4 wins and 1 defeat. And then you've got Lauca, who haven't really played because of their involvement in other cup competitions. Yeah. So they've played 2 and won 2. You can't get much better than that, can you, really, to be honest? So they've got some distance to go in catching others up, haven't they? And then there's a real logjam between the rest of the division, isn't there? Hensingham, Cockermouth and Egremont Rangers A, they're all on 4 points. Then you've got Aspatria Hornets down in 8th with 3 points. Allenborough Rangers A with 2. Glasson Rangers also with 2. Dissington A with 1 point. And then you've got Ascombe and Flimby, who are still set to win their first game of the season, but they've been competitive.
Yeah, and the other thing is, this is lots of A teams in there, and
there's not much choice because most of the first teams are in the National Conference League, aren't they?
But what I'm saying is, obviously, they've still got the strength in depth, even though they're managing to get 2 teams out, because obviously the majority of them, as you say, have got an NCL teams, and so it's good to see. It's not an area as a whole that has got a mass of players, and again, as we've discussed in the past, if you get a couple of good ones, obviously the local professional club comes trotting down and they're gone. But it's great to see that they're in there and they're managing to keep sort of a real good sort of turnover of players there.
I don't know whether I want to mention all these players then, because they might be picked up from the Carroll League and all these fans might not have the chance to watch them from next season.
Parky, what are you doing?
But fair play to Matt Sibbald from Wathborough Hornets. He leads the goal kicking charts with 26 goals so far this season. Tucked in just behind him is Blake Miller from Maryport with 22, and Ben Tootle meanwhile is in third spot with 17. From a try scoring point of view, we've got Blake Miller out on top with 7 tries. He's having a grand season so far, isn't he? Jack Megan from Wathborough Hornets. We saw him in the Challenge Cup because he stepped up to the first team, didn't he, over at York Acorn. He's grabbed 7 tries so far this season. And then you've got Nathan Kirkbride from Flimby Vikings, so they may be propping the rest of the table up at the moment, but they've got one of the top scorers and obviously one of the most decent strike players in the whole Carlow League playing for him at the moment with 6 tries, so fair play to him. From a point scoring point of view, Blake Miller and Matt Sibbald can't be separated. They've both got 72 points each. Ben Tootle, he trails, he needs to do some catching up. He's on 42 points, but it's still fair play, isn't it? Such an early stage of the season to be scoring that. And then talking about maybe awards for the Player of the Year, we had a photo that we got sent a few weeks ago, didn't we, which featured the Player of the Year and the top scorer from last season. And so far the Player of the Year, it's very close in the voting. You've got 3 each for Dale Lambton from Askham and for Keenan Foster from Aspatria as well. So nice to see those clubs getting a bit of recognition for how well they are doing, with their players. Now, if we're
I like that where what the sort of ratings are as you're going through the season as well. I like that.
It's good, isn't it?
Interesting.
We'll keep an eye on that, to be honest. So this coming weekend on Friday in the Holman Eagles and Cumberland League, we've got Ellenborough Rangers A up against Maryport. Big game between those two. Dissington A set to host Glasson Rangers, and on Saturday you've got Cockermouth Titans hosting Hensingham A, and at Spatria Hornets they travel over to Askham. Is that the chance for Askham to open their account this season?
Possibly.
We'll find out next week, shall we? Right, moving over to... Well, I'm going to give you the choice here, Steve. Where should we go? Yorkshire or Lancashire?
Let's go Lancashire.
Lancashire, right, okay. So, last Thursday in the North West Men's Cup competition, Blackbrook were hosting Hurstfinch. Hurstfinch had a resounding win, 38 points to 6. We were hoping that at some point we were going to get out there, but my cold sort of dictated and meant that I wasn't going anywhere and I wasn't really feeling that crash hot, so unfortunately I didn't get out to that game. On Saturday in the Cup, we had Halton Farmouth Hornets 22, West Horton Lions 26. That's an awesome victory.
Huge
win for West Horton.
And like I was saying, I was looking at results that were coming through, and obviously that one popped up as well. I thought, well done, guys. Very, very well done.
Sheffington Sharks 36, Wigan St Cuthbert's 12, and then Ashton Burrs 0, Orrell St James 20. I had spies at this game, by the way, and the report back was that both sides really did give it each other, and it was a closer game than 20-0 would suggest. Apparently Orrell St James scored a couple of tries just before half time to go 10-0 up, and then scored a couple of tries in the last 10 minutes to win the 20-0. But apparently Ashton were really, really competitive and just couldn't score.
I know we go on all the games of the likes of Hurstfinch, Blackbrook and all that, and obviously when you get Pilks and Tatooeth, etc., from a this side of the border type of thing. Ashton Burrs and Donald St James. I'll tell you what, if you ever want to go and watch a community game, that's one of the ones. Whether it's at Ashton or whether it's at Orrell,
mark it down in your diaries.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
In the trophy, you had Hinepool Tigers 22, Banky Bulls 28. That's perhaps a little bit of a surprise, isn't it? Because I think Hinepool's in a slightly higher division.
Yeah.
Garswood Stags 26, Waterhead Warriors A8. I don't know whether you've got a result for this one. Rochdale Mayfield A against Wigan St Jude's.
I certainly have. It's Rochdale Mayfield A 44, Wigan St Jude's 14.
Big win that for Rochdale Mayfield. And then we've got Blackpool Scorpions 14, Roos Pioneers 32. Excellent win for Roos, that one.
Yeah.
Then the results from the Shield, you might be able to chip in with Culcheth against Haydock, but I've got Liverpool Lizards 26, Garswood Stags Reserve 6, Hurstfinch A 86, West Horton Lions A 0, and then I've got no result between Folly Lane A and Orrell St James A.
I think that might have been a forfeit because it was a 24-0 to Foley Lane.
Okay.
And your other one, Culcheth Eagles 4, A. Warriors 24.
Oh, good win that for Haydock. And then we had a game that was set to be played in Division 1 between Wigan St Cuthberts and Ulverston. That was called off.
Yeah.
Your fixtures this coming weekend on Saturday, season the Premier Division. Halton Farmworth Hornets up against Blackbrook. Big game. Heysham Atoms up against Orrell St James. Latchford Albion are hosting Folly Lane, and Shevington Sharks, they're hosting Ashton Burrs. Division 1 action sees Salford City Roosters travel over to Chorley Panthers. Ulverston take on Dalton at Dalton. Crackerjack.
It's all happening.
Goulburn Parkside host Hindley. That's a local derby of sorts as well, isn't it? Thatto Heath Crusaders A is set to take on West Horton Lions. Wigan St Cuthberts, they're at home against Burtonwood Bridge. That'll be an interesting encounter as well, won't it?
I think Burtonwood has had a little bit of a wobble this last few weeks, but I still wouldn't write them out of anything. I certainly wouldn't.
In Division 2, we've got Wigan Springview away at Lee Miners Rangers A. We've got Waterhead Warriors A hosting Newton Storm. West Bank Bears, meanwhile, they host Hinepool Tigers. That should be a big game as well between those two. And then in Division 3, we have Banky Bulls at home to Blackpool Scorpions. I think they'll start as favourites in that one, won't they?
Yeah.
Caddy's Rhinos, they host Runcorn Highfield. Garswood Stags are over at Higginshaw. Meanwhile, Clockface Miners A are over at Lee East A, according to the fixture list. And in Division 4, we see Chester Gladiators host the Culcheth Eagles. Haydock are at home against Langworthy Reds. Liverpool Lizards take on Portico Vine. That's the standout fixture from this section as far as I'm concerned. And then we've got Orrell St James A set to play against Bolton, but we're hearing that Bolton's pulled out of the league until they can get some players.
Yeah, it's a shame because obviously we've applauded them for a long time now of how they've managed to get things together. But yeah, like any other team at the end of the day, Parker, we know it can it can come to any.
It can affect anybody, can't it, really?
And obviously if you're just running an open age side and you've got no players to be able to filter in, it's not the easiest when you've been a well-established team.
Definitely not.
And I know, don't get me wrong, I know Bolton have been around in different guises as it were for a while. You just got to say, you take the hats off to them for performing so well for so long, and hopefully they'll get back on the pitch in some way, shape or form shortly.
Fingers crossed. Right, let's cross over the border, shall we? Yorkshire Men's League. So action got underway last Friday in the NCL Alliance Cup. West Bowling Academy 32, Milford 0. Then on Saturday also in the Cup, Murfield 32, Charleston Rovers 6. Cutsike Raiders 22, Doncaster Tollbar 60. That sounded like a spectacular game. Ossick Trinity Tigers 16, Almondbury Spartans 14. That sounds a good game, a really close game. And then you might be able to help me with the Westgate Common against Bradford Dudley Hill. Steve.
Yeah, Westgate Common 16, Bradford Dudley Hill 22.
They're getting some good results, aren't they, Bradford Dudley Hill? Seem to be on their way back in the trophy. Illingworth 24, Seacroft Sharks 22, Bramley Buffaloes 40, Cass Panthers 12, Upton 18, Dodworth Miners 20, Emley Moor Cougars 0, Mould Green 24. And then in the Shield, you've got Garforth Tigers 0, Bramley Buffaloes A 24, York St John Barbarians 34, Dewsbury Moor 4, Ulton Raiders 21, East Hull 20. Wow. And Sherburn Bears 24, Charleston Rovers Academy 0. Again, other games taking place in the NCL Alliance Cup. That saw Bentley 18, Eastmoor Dragons 20, and Skirler 22, West Hull 50. Not sure whether you've got a result for this one, Steve. Heworth against Shawcross Sharks. That's in the NCL Alliance Cup.
I'll just check for you. Heworth against Shawcross Sharks. Yeah, we've got Heworth 28, Shawcross Sharks 20.
Good game.
Close one there, yeah.
Yeah, nice close one. And then in the Hull division, there was set to be a game between Scunthorpe Steel Sharks and Cottingham Tigers. I've got no result against that now.
We've got Scunthorpe Steel Sharks, I beg your pardon, 34, Cottingham Tigers 50.
Whoa.
Got your money's worth there, Parky.
Tigers, that one. Some cracking high scoring games, right? They're over on the other side of the Pennines. So what have we got coming up this week then? Well, it all kicks off on Friday evening. Division 1 action, Charleston Rovers. They're hosting Bradford Dudley Hill. In the NCL Alliance competition, it's West Bowling Academy up against Stanningley. And then on Saturday, the Premier Division sees Almondbury Spartans take on Fryston Warriors. Keighley Albion host Newson Panthers. King Cross Park at hosting Doncaster Toll Bar. And I think this one is going to be the standout because it's like the derby of Wakefield. You've got Westgate Common up against Stanley Rangers. In Division 1, you have Cutside Raiders taking on Siddle Academy. Wibsey Warriors are over at Murfield. And Hunslet ARLFC, well, they're over at Ossick Trinity Tigers. In Division 2, Brighouse Rangers, they host Cass Panthers. Illingworth, they've got the task of Birkinshaw Blue Dogs on the calendar this week. Mould Green, they host the Emley Moor Cougars. Meanwhile, Queensbury, they face the Seacroft Sharks. In Division 3, Bramley Buffaloes, they're hosting Birstall Victoria. Dodworth Miners, they're away at New Earswick All Blacks in York. Elland and Greetland, they're on the road at Upton. Meanwhile, York Acorn, they're at home to Wyke. And then in Division 4, Dewsbury Moor are set to play against Ulton Raiders. West Craven Warriors host Goole Vikings. York Barbarians are away at Newson Panthers A-side. And Underbank Rangers, they're away at Sherburn Bears. In Division 5, Durham Valley Bulldogs are hosting Batley. Craigleston All Blacks, they're at home against Farnley Falcons. And Scarborough Pirates, they're away at the Garforth Tigers. Division 6 action, well, that's set to see Birkinshaw Blue Dogs Academy host Keighley Albion Academy. Gaisley Rangers are at home to Hemsworth Dragons. Rycroft Hammers take on the Moortown Mambas. And Charleston Rovers Academy, they're at home to King Cross Park Academy. And then in the NCL Alliance competition, you've got Eastmoor Dragons hosting Normanton Knights. You've got Heworth over at Milford, and you've got Bentley over at Shawcross Sharks. And then in the Hull division, some crackers in this one if they take place. You've got East Hull against Cottingham Tigers, Skirler against surely can't be playing two games on the same day. Cottingham Tigers, something's gone wrong with that fixture list, surely.
Probably is a very talented side.
Yeah, they've got to be a very talented side if they're putting two sides out on the same day.
I have got East Hull versus Cottingham Tigers. That's the one that's on the site.
Anybody for Skirler then?
Skirler, I've got this week after, playing East Hull the week after.
Okay.
Can't see anything for... Oh, tell a lie.
West Hull against Scunthorpe Steel Sharks?
No, West Hull against Skirler.
Ah, right, okay. That's a bit of a change. That could throw the League Express this next week then.
Scunthorpe Steel Sharks I've got against Mighton Warriors.
Didn't take much to throw me either. But yeah, some cracking. Why didn't I just come to you in the first place, Steve? He's the man who's got all the fixtures right at the touch of a button. But that's your action.
I think we should recall it the fixture mixtures.
The fixture mixtures. Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a mixture for us there, isn't it? So that's your action to look forward to in the Yorkshire men's competition. Over in Barrow, in the Vantage Competitions League, which took place last Wednesday, you've got Barrow Island 38, Millom 32, Highpool and Roosh Pioneers 30, Dalton 32, Ulverston 24, Walney Central 0. You've got Dalton against Ulverston, that's set to take place tonight, as we're recording this on the Wednesday. And then in the Vantage Competitions League on Friday, Millom set to host Walney Central, Highpool and Roosh Pioneers, they're hosting Barrow Island. The Southern Conference League, they're back in action this coming weekend. West Warriors, they're at home against the Hammersmith Hills Hoist. That's one to look forward to from a London point of view for us, isn't it, next week? Brentwood Eels, they host Bristol All Golds. Bedford Tigers, they're at home to the North Hearts Crusaders. Meanwhile, London Scholars, they travel over to face off against the Eastern Rhinos. So that's your fixtures as far as the Southern Conference is concerned. It is also the start of the Regional League in the South this coming weekend as well. Now, some of that actually got underway last week. So in the Eastern Cup, you've got Canvey Knights 0, Brentwood Eels A24, and then you had the Eastern Rhinos A76, Anglian Vipers 24, Hemel Stags 4, North Hearts Crusaders A36. Your action this coming weekend in the London Premier Division, Elmbridge Eagles, they're at home against the Brixton Bulls. Medway Dragons, they host Brighton and Hove. West Warriors A, they take on London Chargers A. And the East of England Premier Division sees Bedford Tigers A up against St Albans Centurions, Hemel Stags at home to the Canvey Knights, and in the Midlands Premier Division you've got Birmingham Bulldogs up against Coventry Bears, Leamington Royals against the Nottingham Outlaws, Oxford Cavaliers, they're up against Swindon St George, and there's a Merit Division as well which features the Staffordshire Quantums up against the North East Worcestershire Ravens, Boston Buccaneers hosting Sherwood Wolfhunt A, and there's a couple of friendlies to look forward to as well. These are a bit different as well. Telford Raiders, they're at home against the South Wales Jets. St Ives Roosters take on new side Deeping Ducks.
Oh, I like that.
The Deeping Ducks.
Yeah,
I think Phil Hodgson's made reference to them at some point in his write-ups this week, but we'll find out a little bit more about the Deeping Ducks and tell you more about them hopefully. But yeah, some smashing games. It's great to see all the competitions up and running now, isn't it?
It's and as we always say, it's surprising how much rugby is played around the countries, not just the country. From going way back, obviously, which we go on about when you did the tours and you visited the various clubs, obviously via Zoom at the time. And it's great to be able to sort of just keep an eye on those as well. As we're doing results and looking at the way they are progressing as the years have gone on.
And again, if there's anything that you want us to mention about your clubs, drop us a line. So at Dave Parkinson RL, at Steve_Beech RL, and then at 13 Pro-Am RL. That's all on what used to be known as Twitter. X, I believe the kids call it these days. But drop us a message and we'll be delighted to give you a mention. If you want to have a chat about your club as well, we'll be delighted to have a chat with you as well. So I can fit it into my busy schedule sometime. I'm sure Steve wouldn't mind speaking and having a natter as well. Yeah, should be all good. Right, talking about natters, I love it when we get the chance to speak to people. So I'm going to play out our first interview. So this came courtesy of the England Community Alliance under-17s. They were in training ahead of the games against France. The squad met up at Lee Miners Rangers once more on Saturday morning. I got to have a chat with a fascinating fella. I welcome you to Elijah Delaidriti.
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, discussing the greatest game at all grassroots levels.
Okay, we're here after the Lions under-17s training. Who've you got with me?
Elijah Delaidriti.
And Elijah, how are you finding this Lions process so far, mate?
That's very good. The lads are getting around each other and the training's going well, so still need to click a few plays into play and then I think we'll be good to go.
I mean, we're sort of like 2 or 3 sessions into it now, aren't we? And you can see that those combinations are starting to come, can't you?
Yeah, well, a lot of lads here have played community with each other now. Them sessions have really helped playing against the under-19s as well. We just learned to click and then the plays are just like club plays, so yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your story. Where are you from? Which club have you been representing? How did you get into rugby league? It's got a lot of questions there, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I started rugby league around, probably say like 8 to 10, and then I started up in Catterick Crusaders, and then I was just played since then. And then I went abroad because I was a military family. I went abroad and I stopped playing rugby for 2 years, and then came back and I got offered a scholarship at Newcastle Thunder, and then that programme finished, and I've just been playing rugby league since I've got back from abroad. So
has that still been with Catterick, or?
Yeah, no, and then I've just recently joined Gateshead Storm. They're in the Yorkshire 2 Div, so just getting about.
I suppose that's an interesting background as well, isn't it? Being part of a military family and moving around.
Yeah, moved to Cyprus like twice, and we've been up and down the country a lot. So yeah.
Do you think that might help, that little bit of experience when we're away in France, because you've been in different places as well?
Yeah, I think it will help with the heat. So I won't be as sweaty, and I've been used to the sun a lot. So yeah.
And I got to ask as well, because like you seem to like the ball in your hands. I'm playing little tip plays and that type of stuff. Is that's something that you've always enjoyed?
Yeah, well, shockingly, I started as a halfback. Now,
really?
Yeah. Now I'm a loose forward, so I put a bit of kg on. So I've always had the ball handling skills to play. So yeah. I was
saying it's good to have those skills and that confidence still, isn't it?
Yeah. I see, like your professionals, looses like to play a lot, so I just thought I can just introduce that to my game as well.
Nice. So, is there any particular players that you kind of like, envisage yourself on?
When I play a loose, I think I like to play like Isaiah Yo with his link up with Nathan Cleary, just always setting my halfback up, if not just running for him, and I just like making the halfback's job easier by setting him a point and stuff like that. So yeah.
And to be fair, there's very few sort of 13s, if you like, now which do that, because they're always like the extra prop, aren't they?
Yeah. I always thought like a 13 was always like a halfback, just heavier. So yeah, I just like it's just I've got moved from halfback to loose, so it just flows the same really with your lead and then someone out the back. So I just thought I'll just do that with them half.
How have you found this sort of Lions process anyway, because you had to go through trials and everything?
Oh yeah, the trials are good. I didn't know I'd get this far, but had a belief in my skill as well, so just wished for the best and tried my hardest in the trials.
Elijah, thank you so much. I hope that as a first interview this hasn't been too bad for you, mate.
Yeah.
Green Cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show cool, even when tackles get heated.
Did well there, didn't he, Elijah? Well, how great to find out about him.
Yeah. And do you know what? I love that bit where he's, playing at 13 and knowing that he's played in the halves, because we've said it before, and you mentioned it there in that interview. You get very, very few halfback loose forwards these days. Certainly over here in England, who've got the ball handling skills. Like you said, they're like another prop to a certain degree, aren't they? So it's good for him to have that skill, and also to be referencing NRL players who he's seen doing those skills.
It's really good to hear that, isn't it? And it just shows that even watching rugby league on TV, you can aspire, can't you?
Yeah.
You can aspire to be better. He's a former Richmond school pupil as well. Great lad. Really good lad. Really interesting story, that, and coming from that military background as well.
Yeah. The other thing as well, as he gets older, obviously he's got the representatives here for the Lions at under 17s. I'm sure moving forward there'll be other options for him as well.
I certainly hope so. He's got the potential.
Yeah.
Really got the potential. As I say, he's just a player that's very, very comfortable if you pass him a ball about doing something off the back of it.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a highly skilled player, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he'll go against the French. Put it that way.
Yeah. Because that'll be a test. We know, we say it year in and year out. When they play the French, and certainly when you get them in their own backyard, it's going to be really, really tough. But yeah, sounds interesting.
So that's the first of our under-17s interviews. We'll have some more of those, I think, between sort of now and when they play against France with a bit of luck. But yeah, great to hear from Elijah. They're obviously enjoying the experience so far and everything that there is involved in that. Right, you know where I want to go next? And I want to actually talk about a couple of other little news pieces that I've sort of come through across my bows. So, bit of news from Saddleworth, and also as well with what's going on behind the scenes there. So President Terry Flanagan and Chair Karen Thompson have both stood down after many years of unstinting service at Saddleworth Rangers' recent annual meeting.
Yeah, I was reading about this during the week, Park. Yeah.
Graham Morgan is the new president, while Thompson's successor will be announced in the near future. Rangers' new look committee includes Danny Attersall, Gavin Dodd, who's been playing for them.
Yeah.
Former professional player as well.
Yeah.
Lars Hay, Dave Newton, Shane Tapai, Sean Whitehead and Andy Wood, with Pete Townsend remaining in post as secretary. Great bloke, by the way, Pete Townsend. Big shout out to you as well, mate. Always one of those guys that I enjoy dealing with.
Yeah.
Always, if there is anything that you want to know about anything going on at Saddleworth, he's the guy to contact. Fantastic fella. And Vicky Jackman has been announced as treasurer. Thompson said, Terry and I go back a few years in these positions at the club, and we felt it was time to hand over the baton. It's been a privilege to serve Saddleworth for so long and to take it to where it is today, notwithstanding the commitment and all the hard work. We wish all who succeed us every success in taking the club forward. All good things come to an end, and this will be good for the club. Meanwhile, over at neighbouring Oldham St Anne's, they've confirmed that Paul Green has succeeded Neil Flanagan as chair. The Saints' revamped committee includes former players Glenn Galbraith and Rick Badby. So interesting to sort of see, changes afoot over in the, do we still class Saddleworth as Oldham? That could cause a contentious issue or two, couldn't it?
You got to watch yourself. But all I know is it's a lovely ground.
It's a lovely ground. Great part of the country, Saddleworth, by the way.
Beautiful.
And again, if it's one of those places that over Community Rugby League you've not been, go and treat yourself.
Oh, yeah. Especially if they have a night match, because it's absolutely glorious.
Yeah. You get that beautiful sunset, don't you?
Yeah.
Beautiful sunset. Don't stand on the other side of the ground, though. That isn't covered because you get bitten, because that's where all the midges congregate.
Right, yeah.
But you're okay under the covered stand.
And electric scoreboard, if I remember rightly.
Electric scoreboard, yeah. So fantastic there. Absolutely fantastic. Right, I want to move on to the National Conference League. I tell you what are you going to say here, Steve?
I can't wait for this, because obviously I've seen, like I said before, seen the results that have been coming through. And yeah, it's just some good ones in here, some good stories.
So all the action got underway last Friday. I'm going to start it with Division 1, actually, purely because that sort of like started with the fixtures last weekend. So Dewsbury Moor Maroons, they are still unbeaten. It's now 7 out of 7. This was a really, really close game between them and Ulton Raiders. So Dewsbury Moor Maroons were the hosts on Friday evening. They won by 12 points to 4, just one try, and the rest of the points by kicks. I had a chat with Matty Stableford at the weekend, who plays for Ulton Raiders, and he was saying he doesn't think he's played in a harder match a closer match in ages. You know, he said there was just the one try in it that came courtesy of Clarkson for the Maroons. Walker kicked 4 goals, and there was 2 goals from Walpole as far as Alton Raiders were concerned, 12-4. So the rest of the results from Division 1, Crossfields, they got an important win against Clotface Miners by 32 points to 10. The Soper try scorers from Holiday, Millington, Clutterbuck, Worrell, Lee, Smith and Walker, they're still struggling for a goal kicker, surprisingly. It's ever since you praised Brad Stanway at the start of the season. He's still chipping in with the occasional goal, but they seem to be struggling for consistency there. So he added the goal.
I put the Grim Reaper Mocker.
That's it, yeah. And Ashurst kicked the other goal as far as Crossfield is concerned. I think the fact of the matter is, though, if you score in 7 tries a game, you're quite often not really going to need goal kicks, are you?
Yeah, true. But when you come up against the tougher teams, you know what I mean. If you're going to come up against Usme or Maroons, I think that's when you're going to need a goal kicker.
Clotface were in with a chance in this one. It was 14-4 at half time. Tries from Jones and Naylor adding a goal as well. This was an outstanding result, this next one, so I was looking forward to seeing what would happen between Ince Rosebridge and Wigan St Pat's. Those clubs pretty close together, it must be said, geographically, and certainly there is plenty of banter that flows down the canal.
It's another Ashton against Dorrell scenario, isn't it?
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Ince Rosebridge winning by 28 points to 12. Jack Morrison scoring for Ince Rosebridge. Also joining him on the score sheet was Shaw, Pete Valentine and Malone. Goal split between Robbie Valentine, who kicked 2, Pete Valentine kicked 4. Wigan St Pat's, who were 12 all at half time, by the way, had tries from Brown and Taylor. Brad Smith kicking a couple of goals, but couldn't score crucially in the second half, and that's a great win that for Ince Rosebridge. I don't know who said that they'd finish bottom. There's no chance they're going to finish bottom and get relegated in this comp, I don't think. They can quite comfortably look towards top 4, I think, for the rest of the season. I had this feeling though when I saw them a few weeks ago, because they're a good side. They play a tough brand of rugby league, but they've got a couple of jack-in-a-box type players as well that can come up with special plays. Great win for Lee Miners Rangers, who avenged the Challenge Cup defeat to Stanningley by winning 36 points to 18. Pilkington kicking 2 goals and scoring 2 tries. Owen Hoyles kicking 2 goals as well. Other tries being scored from Williamson, Gotts, Grimes, Philbin and Lancelot. Stanley, meanwhile, they had tries from Butterill, Dyer Dixon and Mallington, with Taylor adding 3 goals. Stanley actually led in this one, 12-10 at half time. That's an impressive win for Lee Miners Rangers. This was a high scoring game as well. Skirler 48, Hull Dockers 38. And I had to just double check that I've said that right. Yes, 48-38 to Skirler. Weaver, Parker, Morrow with 2, Dunn, Pratt, Oliver and Torsey with the tries. Gilby kicking 4 goals, Pratt kicking 4 goals for Skirler. Meanwhile for the Dockers, you must be gutted with that. You scored 38 points away from home. That's got to be enough to win most games, to be honest.
And the thing we said about Skirler, didn't we? We were saying that the after we'd seen them at the beginning of the season, we thought, they'll be all right. I said once they get a dry track, they'll certainly start scoring tries. Obviously, they've got to tighten the defence up a bit. But yeah, it's good to see so many players on the score sheet for them.
Yeah, they let 7 tries in at the weekend, to be honest, did Skirler. So yeah, Thompson grabbed a try, Fletcher grabbed 2, Heel with 1, Brannigan, Mortimer and B. Fletcher scoring, Agar kicking 5 goals. And then Waterhead Warriors coming up with an impressive 30-0 win over Woolston Rovers. So 2 of the sides that got promoted from the division below last season. It was only 6-0 at half time to Waterhead this as well. So Owen, Hamilton, Perks, Bridge and Joy the scorers. Goal split between Brennan and Hamilton. But yeah, great to be mentioning Jensen Hamilton, because he's had a little bit of a quiet start to the season from a scoring point of view, and he's obviously nipped over for a try there and kicked a couple of goals as well.
Yeah, and
he can't keep a good fullback quiet for long, can he?
Oh no. But Bolston Rovers, obviously be disappointed with the defeats, but not getting on the score sheet, that will hurt. That will hurt.
Yeah, and as a result of that, it means that their point difference has gone less than Skirler. So Skirler picking up that win has actually moved them up a couple of places in the league. So still lots to play for, though. We're still at quite an early stage. Yeah. And there's still plenty of rugby yet to be played, isn't there?
The thing is, Parky, obviously the next month and the next couple of months after that, we start drifting into holiday period as well. So you're going to get people who are, family holidays are going to kick in, etc. So that's going to be interesting as well, how that factors into various team selection.
Let's talk Premier Division, shall we? It was anything but a holiday up at Egremont Rangers. Not only was it wet and sloppy conditions up there, but it saw Egremont Rangers. I think they have really nailed their flag to the mast of being a Premier Division side once again. They've only gone and defeated Hunslet 22-0. I mean, this is a Hunslet side that basically you can put on one hand the amount of games they've lost in the last 3 years. They are a tremendous side. You can't not judge this Egremont Rangers side after coming up with such a big win.
Well, we were discussing the tables last week, if you remember, and you said to me, would Egremont be happy with where they were? I think they were about mid-table, and I said, yeah, they'd be more than happy with that, I'm sure. And then when we went through, obviously, the fixtures, and we said this would be a difficult one, and I actually said, what could be in Egremont's favour is nobody likes going up to Cumbria to play, no matter who you're playing. But the old Wath Brow story is he's trundled out week after week usually. Could it be the same sort of thing for Egremont Rangers? We've got to set your hats off. Whether or no whether, at the end of the day, both sides have got to play in the same, haven't they? Well done. Big shouts out there to the guys at Egremont Rangers. Wake up call for Hunslet. Perhaps possibly just keep them on the toes ready for things moving forward for the rest of the season, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. And Paul Corkill, he added a touchdown on 33 minutes. Matt Beech adding a conversion. And shortly afterwards, Liam Crowlin swept in to make it 16-0 at half-time. And that was how it stayed right until the final quarter, when Brocklebank, who opened the scoring...
Is it JP?
Yeah, JP Brocklebank went over for a try, and Matt Beech, who's a guy that we mentioned quite a lot on the show, he followed up with the conversion. So we ended up with 3 goals, Brocklebank with 2 tries, Egremont 22, Hunslet 0. Now, I do love both of these clubs with the way that they approach their social media. Yeah. And as we know, we've said it before, Hunslet usually put a video out every single week with the tries that they have scored.
And what's it called?
And they call it Just Our Tries. Okay. So they did produce a video.
Did they?
They showed the kickoff and it being caught by a Hunslet player, him getting pounded by a couple of defenders moving in, and it said, "That's all, folks. Join us again next week." And I do love that.
Yeah. Well,
I do love that.
Well, the bottom line is they don't take themselves too seriously. In the end of the day, it's sort of like if you treat a win and a loss exactly the same, then you're not far wrong there, I don't think.
Definitely. Other scores around the Premier Division. Wathbrow Hornets picking up a really important away win at Heworth. Heworth were leading 10-6 at half-time. Wathbrow Hornets eventually just getting on the other end of the score sheet, 18-16. Heworth with tries from Craig, Richmond and Briggs, with goals split between Allen and Sadler. Meanwhile for the Hornets, McConnell, Riley and McCourt going over for tries, Walker Taylor adding 3 goals. Siddle continued their imperious form with a 30-0 defeat of York Acorn. It just seems ever since we spoke to Josh, their form has gone the other way. Yep. He did hint at it.
Yeah,
he did say that they were inconsistent, and that they needed to work on a few things.
He said he needs to work on their away form, if I remember rightly. He said they weren't ultra worried about things at home, but they were great travellers.
And again, McCallum scores a try. He was the top try scorer last season. Ackroyd, Georgiou, Hosty who he's scoring every week, isn't he?
Yeah,
tries, goals.
Yeah, goals, 5 goals.
5 goals as well, and Booth grabbed the other try there. 30 points to 0 in that one. What it does mean is that Siddle are out on top on their own in the division now.
Yeah.
They've extended the lead to 2 points, haven't they, over the chasing pack. Rochdale Mayfield had the fright of their lives over at Thatto Heath Crusaders. Now, Thatto, they were ruining the loss of the previous night of Roy Sharples. So he was one of the stalwarts that's been involved at Thatto for many years. Used to do all the team sheets and everything for them as well. Another fantastic ambassador for Rugby League that we've lost, and they lifted the performance, did Thatto, very much so. They really did shock Rochdale Mayfield. It was 18-16 to Mayfield at half time, and they just about got the job done. So Crusaders grabbed tries through Dickinson, Tracy, Dwyer and Ashurst, with Dickinson also kicking 3 goals. For Mayfield, Slater, Long, Parr, Tolhurst and Butterworth got over the try line. Parr kicked 4 goals, and this is impressive as well, West Bowling picked up their second win of the season. So this came against Kells, 26 points to 14. West scoring tries through Barrett, who grabbed 2. Halmshaw, Simpson and a certain Elliott Cousins. Co kicked 3 goals. I say a certain Elliott Cousins because I spoke to him, and this is our conversation.
Okay, I'm alongside Elliott Cousins. Elliott, I want to talk West Bowling because you was part of the squad which got promoted at the end of last season. It took you a little bit of time to get settled back in the Prem, but over recent weeks you seem to be really making a mark again.
Yeah, we've got a core group back together now, so we struggle with a lot of injuries, but we've got a bit of cohesion back. So last 2 weeks we had a good win last Friday night against York Acorn, and a good win yesterday against Kells. So again, we got this group back, so we knew it was going to be tough going into the Prem this year, because every game's a battle, and we knew it was going to take some time. So we'll get there. So we're pretty confident of where we're going to be, but we're just taking each week by week.
Do you feel that it's that level of consistency with having those guys back and regular selections then?
Yeah, because the guys that I've got back are part of a spine, so it's important for us to keep that ticking over. Again, we've got a partnership with Keighley as well on dual reg, so we've got a couple of boys come there, which is important for his middles as well. So yeah, I think keep a spine together, we'll be good for the year.
This is something that's been sort of introduced to the National Conference League this year, hasn't it? Being able to have certain players back on dual reg and stuff. Is that something that's boosted your squad? Have you found, is it like additional professionalism coming in?
Yeah, well, we had Josh Lyman from Keighley last year on loan. So again, Josh is on his testimonial year for Keighley as well. So he just wasn't getting enough game time at Keighley, and with a reserve system, and is a really quality player. So he's come back on dual reg. We've also got Matt Bailey, who again I played with Matt at Bradford. Again, he's on his testimonial year as well. So they're finding game time limited, and with the NCL, it's especially playing in the Prem, it's the best league in the country. So it's important for them, and they do give us a big lift. Again, they know the little 1%ers, which is important for the boys.
And I was thinking as well, that's got to be good to rub off on the rest of the squad as well, isn't it?
Yeah, again, because if what you've got to think, we've got a lot of young boys, and they're playing in a team with people who are semi-pro or play pro level. So a lot of our boys could easily play League One standard. Some of them could easily play Champ standard. But we choose to play with his mates, and we've got families and stuff like that. But yeah, again, we're testing ourselves against the best, and we're getting real quality players playing alongside us, so that's important as well.
And with the upwards trajectory of the club generally, basically ever since you've moved to the new stadium, over at Horsefall, you're building, but with that it kind of brings attention, doesn't it? And you get players who get picked up to go pro as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So again, we've got some real good connections. So we've got obviously his old coach Mark Dunn, he's Midlands Hurricanes coach. His old coach last year, Dean Mayer, he's Hunslet coach. So again, we keep really close bonds to them. We have a lot of in-house training sessions with them teams as well. But again, yeah, the club's on the upward. We've got teams, my children, 5-year-old boys. They go to Nippers training, so that's 3 to 5-year-olds. We've got teams from under 16s. to under 18s. We had a second team game out on Friday night with 20 players there. First team game out yesterday. We've got under 18s, girls, ladies team. So again, the club's in a really good place, so it's important. But again, we're at the top of that ladder now, so we've got to set the standard as the Open Age first team.
I mean, like, I'm really pleased to hear that, because I know for quite a few years it was like almost a bit of a nomadic existence, wasn't it, going between that dusty field I remember, you playing on years ago, and then having that bar where you used next to Odsal. Yeah,
so again, we played at the old famous Bankfoot Oval, and that's where I made my debut actually at 16 years old. I played against Joel Gibson at Farnham. So yeah, we were there, then we went to Emsley's Rec, and we were running from a pub. Again, we were in the Pennine League then, so we moved out of the Conference League, went to the Pennine League, went to the Yorkshire Men's League, then we started in NCL Division 3 and have worked our way up to the Prem in probably around 5 years. So again, we know we've got the quality to do that, but now it's about sustaining it moving forward.
Because I mean, it's important from just generally a Bradford point of view, isn't it? Because you're right up there again. When you look at what else has happened within the city. Obviously, the last time that we spoke, you was connected with Dudley Hill, weren't you?
Yeah, I've gone to the again, like I mentioned to you, Dave. I've always been a West Bowling boy, and I've always wanted to play at the highest standard I can. There was a stage where West Bowling were in the Pennine League, so I had to play it in the Conference League. Just to test myself, really. But yeah, we are the pinnacle in Bradford Rugby League, barring Bradford Bulls, obviously. And again, we get a lot of attention, a lot of people coming to watch us. And again, we've got to set the standard for Bradford for that as well.
Now, obviously, we're catching up, and you're part of this Lions squad. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, isn't it, to sort of head to Australia. I know you're quite a well travelled guy anyway, aren't you, with your spells earlier on in your career in France, but how are you feeling, sort of as part of this squad?
It's probably my greatest achievement within rugby, to be fair. Really proud. I'm proud for myself and obviously my children as well. I just want to go out there and represent my country, put my heart on the line for the boys. Again, I'm really passionate about it, so again, I'm really looking forward to it. Never been to Australia myself, but it should be good. We've got a job to do over there, which is really important, and that's the foremost as well. But it's going to be an experience for the boys. But really looking forward to it, and I'm sure we'll give it a good crack.
There's some great lads in this squad, to be honest. Not just players, but characters as well. You feel like you're settling in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, we probably whack each other every Saturday, and then we have a beer after that. That's the joys of rugby league, and that's why it's probably the greatest sport in the world. But again, there's some good crack here. Rouse is a little character, and then we've got some sly ones as well, like Sido. But again, I get on really well with Stabs, so again, me and Stabs used to just belt each other on Saturdays, but we've got a really good bond. Obviously we play in the middles together as well, so I think, like I say, all the boys get on. There's no cliques or anything like that, so it'd be good to get away with them, and just, like I say, build that bond up even more.
And I think, like you say, it's a case of building, isn't it, now, until that trip in October?
Yeah, it's building blocks, so we've probably got, like I say, we're training every month now, so it's important, and we don't just want to go there to roll over. It's not an holiday. Again, we've got a job to do. We're representing this country. If we come back and we lose 2 tests and lose a friendly and don't do it in that Nines tournament, we just people aren't going to give us any respect moving forward. So we're setting the standard now moving forward, which is important. And again, there's 22 players going out there who are deemed the best in the country. So if we come back and flop, there's going to be people looking at us. So we've all got a job to do on that front.
Green Cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show cool, even when tackles get heated.
Great to hear from Elliott there. Really, really good bloke, and so impressive the fact that West Bowling have got their act together now, and as he was saying, it probably helps with the consistency of getting players back.
Yeah, it'd be good to watch them going forward now, Parky, because obviously I was concerned about them because, again, like I said a couple of weeks back, from how they performed at the end of last year and went up from that league, you would have thought, they'd be pretty good and hold their own, as it were. And first few games, I sort of thought, is it one of those where suddenly it's bitten off more than they can chew to a certain extent? But yeah, we'll see how they go.
Be remiss of me not to mention Kel's scorers in this game, by the way, as it was 26 points to 14. They had scores from Ryan Starkey, Aston Sice and Don Weir, and he also added a goal as well, did Don Weir. He's another one of the lads that's going over to Australia with the Community Lions Open Age.
Yeah.
We'll have to cough here.
That's me off for 3 weeks now.
the beauty of the cold. The beauty of the cold. Right, elsewhere, just the one further result to tell you about from the Premier Division. That was West Hull 36, Loch Lane 6. Couple of tries in this one for Opie Palmer. Other scores from Wilson, who added 5 goals, Middlemass, Wood, and the brilliantly named Juice Silk. Welburn kicking the other goal there. For Loch Lane, they had a try scorer in Price, who's another one of the lads who's going over to Australia. Butler kicking the goal. They were well in with a chance, and then a couple of tries before half time sort of took West Hull away in that one. Division 2, well, that saw some points scored, put it this way, and there was a really exciting. Well, we had a really exciting draw in Super League on Saturday night, which was between Lee and Castleford. I'm going to say this game potentially trumped it. I'm going for Division 2, National Conference League, Mighton Warriors 28, Ellenborough Rangers 28. Not a hint of extra time in this one. Yeah. Because we don't play it at National Conference League level. It's just straight draws. Who'd have thought it?
There's nothing wrong with the draw.
Don't go mentioning that to Jamie Fields. It upsets Jamie.
He does, doesn't it?
Looking at a league and seeing draws rather than wins and losses. But yes, 28 points each. So the Warriors, they had tries from Ward, Slater, Deering, James and Sanderson. Sanderson kicking 4 goals. For the Rangers, Winter, Ossel and Alstrom scored 2 tries, with Robinson also getting over the line. Winter kicking 4 goals as well. Normanton Knights continued their impressive start to the season with their 5th win of the year. That was a comfortable home 50 points to 10 defeat of Millom. A couple of tries each from Rowley, Jacob Crossland, with Joe Crossland also getting himself on the score sheet. Jacob Crossland finishing with 4 goals, Joe Crossland with 3. Wilson and Blinkhorn were the scorers for Millom. Josh getting himself on the scoreboard there for Millom, and obviously he's getting more game time as well, which bodes well for both him moving forward as a young player developing, and also for the England Community Lions under 19s as they start to prepare for the European Championships. So great to sort of see that, although it's probably not the sort of result that Millom wants to be reminded of too often. But there was the big, I was going to say Oldham derby, but I'm risking something again because Oldham St Anne's defeated Saddleworth Rangers by 34 points to 6. Rangers scoring 1 try through Winterbottom, converted by McManus, but the Saints, they were well on top with Zafini, Etchells, Callum Cashin, Rose, Fletcher and McGinnity going over for tries. Pogson adding 5 goals. Massive scoreline between Shawcross Sharks and Pilkington Rex. I do know that Pilks were struggling somewhat for players in this one. A dad and lad played. Okay.
I know a certain John Rees was on the bench.
Yeah. But a dad and lad played.
Yeah.
So I've spoken to Scott Simmons.
Yeah.
So Scott, England Community Lions under 19s hooker, or halfback. He played halfback, and his dad Stuart, who coaches the England Community Lions under 17s. So basically, I didn't get to speak to Stuart after the training on the 17s, because he was jumping in his car and heading straight on over to Pilks to get the to get the bus to go over to Shawcross. So and he got sin-binned as well, did Stu?
You know what, they're doing it really, really tough there at the moment.
This one finished 62 points to 16, huge, by the way. Huge, so Tom Ashen and Nathan Wright both grabbed hat-tricks for the leaders, Shawcross. And the Sharks also registered a brace from Dane Windrow, while Evan Stevenson chipped in with a try and 2 goals. Other touchdowns went the way to Josh Frayne and Jack Toulson, and Dec Tomlinson booted 7 goals. If there was a plus point in that defeat for Pilkington Rex, it was 2-try fullback Callum Derrick, who went over twice. Elliott Martin also racing in, Tommy Connick kicking a couple of conversions. Now for the Sharks, Tomlinson was simbing in the first half for a slap after Harry Brooks had been yellow carded for leading with an elbow. Meanwhile, as I mentioned before, Pilks had Stu Simmons simbined in the second period for kicking the ball away. Between you and me, I think he was after a breather. No, I'm sure there was more to it. I don't mean to take the mick, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
got to say big up to Callum Derrick, by the way, because obviously when we did the commentary on the Pilks match, he was playing, if I remember it, fullback for them.
That's when they played against St Anne's, wasn't it, earlier in the year?
And I certainly liked his attack and the way he joined the line. Obviously, I think we've discussed it from a defensive point of view. Got to be a little bit more on it, but nevertheless, when things are, obviously tough, he's got in there and managed to get a couple of tries.
Yeah, it's fair play to him, and it's on the back of youngsters like that Pilks will rise again, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're just going through one of these periods where basically everything goes against you, doesn't it? And you've just got to keep the club going. You've got to try and get these younger players through.
Yeah, and you've got to take your hat off to the older generation who were helping to, sort of sticking around and helping to get the fixtures completed and sorted. Jamie Smith obviously doing it really, really tough to playing and coaching as well. It is a tough thing. Obviously, Keezer, who we mention week after week, but strapped up to the hilt, putting his body on the line, and other guys as well. Tom Connick is another one that we talk about. But yeah, I'm sure the lads will put their heads down and crack on and see what happens next week.
Thornall Trojans defeated Barrow Island 32-24. Real high scoring on this one. Hartshorn scoring a couple of tries for the Trojans, a couple of tries for Joel Gibson as well, who also kicked 6 goals. At this sort of level, he's a standout at whichever level he plays at, to be honest, Joel. He's just a class act. And they're too much for Barrow Island, who had try scorers from Rasconi, who we seem to mention every week. Jones, who I mention every week, and yes, former teammate. He was toured Fiji.
I see. Yeah.
So I can call him a former teammate, even though I wasn't on the team. I was just doing all the other bits, behind the scenes and pouring out tweets and things like that over the course of that trip.
We've seen photos of you sat in the stands.
Ford and Singleton also scored tries. Jones kicked 4 goals. It was 18-all, that one at half-time, by the way. And then finally in that league, Wigan St Jude's continued their excellent form with a 34-14 defeat of Dewsbury Celtic. Now, a certain Connor Parkinson scored a couple of tries there. Others going the way of Frost, Rothwell and Palmer, with Brady also chipping in as well, Joey Brady. And I've been really impressed when I've seen him play, Joey Brady.
Yeah.
He's just a real tough, sharp running second rower.
Yeah.
Who can cause havoc. He just picks his lines and runs so hard. It's so difficult to stop. So Cassidy chipped in with 5 goals. They did get reduced to 12 men near the end. This was in a fighting incident that saw Peter Moore dismissed. But Celtic also had a man dismissed in Drew Clark as well. They scored tries themselves through Dunford, Cummins and Paul Fulston, with Cummins kicking 1 goal. Became a little bit disorganised, to be honest, in Celtic, because they had the senior sent to the sin bin for a high tackle just after the hour mark, and then saw Clark later dismissed as part of that fighting effort. But 34-14, a commanding victory, and there's not much that separates, basically. Shawcross Sharks, who were first, Wigan St Jude's, who were second, just the 2 points on the league ladder, and virtually nothing as far as point difference goes. Division 3, Bentley 62, Seaton Rangers 12. A massive victory for Bentley. Brahm scoring 3 tries, big prop forward. We commentated on him earlier on.
That's right,
year.
yeah.
Other tries from Croswell, Bates, Jarmolinski. Deacon grabbing 2 tries. Seaman, Smith, Go Lightly also going over the try line. Ryan Craswell with 7 goals. Sykes with 2. Rangers, meanwhile, they grabbed replies through Surtees and Mason. Nixon kicking 2 goals, but they were well out of the contest at half time when they trailed by 28 points to 0. There was another big win as well for Beverley, who really seemed to have had a great start to the season as well, with 4 wins from their first 5 matches. Burnett, Beardshaw, Gregory, Carroll, Hardy, Rose, Hutchinson and Poskett going over the line. Poskett also kicking 9 goals, 2 tries for Wilson as well. That was on the way to a 58-18 win against Featherstone Lions, who again didn't really manage to impose themselves on the game so much. It was 36-6 at half time. Lions eventually scoring 3 tries to add an air of respectability to the score through Roby, Smith and Walker. Johnson kicking 3 goals. All eyes from our point of view were over at Dissington though, weren't they? As they took on East Leeds, and we were really interested how this one might eventuate, weren't we, Steve?
We certainly were, because obviously, I mean, there are 2 form teams currently in that division, and we knew it was going to be a tough one for either side, and it was a tight one indeed, wasn't it?
It certainly was. 4-4 at half time. Martin, George, Friel eventually scoring tries for Dissington. 2 goals from the boot of George and an all-important drop goal as well, which got them to 17 points. And then for East Leeds, they had a try from Hartley, who was their man of the match, and Edwards in the second half with a goal from Littlewood. But they were defeated, 17 points to 10. Great win that for Dissington.
Yeah, huge. I mean, don't get me wrong, East Leeds will look at it then and think, well, okay, fair enough, we've gone away from home to Dissington, who were riding high. And, you know, it's been a close affair, so that'll stand them in good stead. But yeah, both of these sides are ones to keep an eye on in this division. The 2, you know, sort of teams who, certainly when we were watching East Leeds against Lee East, they were, you know, sort of a side who were frightened to throw the ball out and get involved. And yeah, but they've got to start sending their sheets through with all the players' names on, because when I try and find them on the RFL website, you're not there. How are we supposed to give you a mention if you're not there?
Yeah, we do struggle to give East Leeds a mention. It must be honest. You know, they're pretty good with the home ones getting sent through, but some of the other stats that you get just seem to be missing somewhat, don't they? So yes.
So come on, boys, get your finger out.
But yeah, and I mention about this as well because you're a good side if you're scoring points against Dissington, because they've now only conceded 60 in 7 games.
Good defensive side, there's no ifs buts about it.
I mean, that's amazing defence, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to be winning far more games than you lose, aren't you, if you're averaging less than 10 points that you concede in a game. Another side that is impressing as well is Hensingham. They had a home game against Driglington. And this is the second game in succession where we've bigged Driglington up and we said about them being a high-scoring side. And they are. They're still the top scorers in the division. But they got nilled up at Hensingham. Hensingham winning by 26 points to 0. Tries from Williamson, McGarry, Holgate, and your mate Wetherill, who scored 2 tries and kicked 3 goals. They won 26 points to 0.
Yeah, I see Jack Kellett was in there at the halves, who impressed us when we were up there watching them against Bentley. Or we were at Bentley watching them out. Yeah, a good side at Hensingham. But yeah, again,
I'm really pleased that they're coming too, because they've got like a lot of teams, they had to rely on the youth, and they lost a number of players. those guys are now sort of 12, 18 months on in the development, and they're starting to get the results in the division, aren't they? So it just shows that for all the difficulties that Pilks are having at the moment, for example, there are brighter times ahead. You've just got to take the rough with the smooth initially, haven't you?
And these are the examples that you've got to look at and see, okay, for enough it's happened for them, why can't it happen for us? What I do like it as well, I mean, as much as I've got massive respect for Wasp Brow, and they are, sort of arguably, certainly from a community point of view, from a Cumbrian point of view, probably, the name, as it were. But it's nice to see, teams like these coming up and Enzingem, etc. Coming up and sort of getting the mentions and sort of. Sort of just moving the word around, as it were.
We love giving you mentions, to be fair. Keep it up. That's what we say. Right, your fixtures for this coming weekend. On Saturday in the Premier Division, you've got Eworth hosting Egremont Rangers. Oh, that could be a stormer, that one. That could be an absolute stormer. Hunslet at home to West Bowling. Will West Bowling fancy the chances going over and perhaps causing a bit of an upset there? You've got Thatto Heath Crusaders away at Kells. Big trip for them as well. Thatto currently second bottom of the Premier Division.
Tough one.
Rochdale Mayfield are up against West Hull. Oh, that's a top encounter, that one. Currently second against third in the comp.
And I think we've seen this last game, haven't we?
Wathbrow Hornets are at home against York Acorn, looking to exact revenge and getting knocked out of the Challenge Cup.
That's right, yeah.
In Division 1, we've got Clotface Miners hosting Woolston Rovers. Wigan St Pats are away at Crossfields in an interesting looking local derby there. Hull Dockers host Lee Miners Rangers. Meanwhile, Ince Rosebridge are the latest side to try and stop Dewsbury Moor Maroons at 100% record. I wonder whether we'll be talking about that being extended or Ince Rosebridge with a win next week.
I'll be looking out for that one. That'll be one I'll be scanning the old phone on Saturday.
Alton Raiders are hosting Skirler. Meanwhile, Stanningley, they're hosting Waterhead Warriors. Division 2 is where I'm looking to be at the weekend. We're looking to broadcast a game from this division. It's not Barrow Island against Oldham St Anne's, although I think that'll be a good game. It's not even Dewsbury Celtic against Myton Warriors, although I think that'll be a good game. We're not travelling all the way up to Ellenborough, much to the disappointment of the Rangers there. And we're not over at Millham either. So we're running out of choices here. Are we going to be at Pilks Rex against Normanton Knights? The answer is not this time. We're over at Wigan St Jude's taking on Shawcross Sharks. It's 2v1 in the comp. I think that's in for an absolute stormer, to be honest. That's going to be live on our Mixler channel.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I think we targeted this, didn't we, a couple of weeks back, because obviously both teams we know, certainly from sort of stuff that we've done, covered in them at the end of last season and obviously this season as well. And both of them are informed. We know players from both sides. Shawcross Sharks are be on the phone saying, please don't send far again. We don't want the Grim Reaper there again.
It's too late. I'm going to be there.
Looking forward to it though, yeah.
But yeah, that should be a tremendous encounter and one that you'll be able to join us on our Mixler channel. Again, look out on our X account, because what we'll do is we'll put the link live on there that you'll be able to click for on the day, and I'll try and retweet it as well.
Yeah, what I would say, if you
get yourself subscribed,
get the app on your phone, get subscribed, get us followed, and then automatically then any games that we do you will be notified. Obviously, when the games are going to be starting, and we try and cover a lot of different rugby. Obviously, we do quite a lot of NCL, but as you've seen in the past, I think Erskine Finch was our last game. And we've even done the police game against New South Wales last year. Been out and about all over the place, but please join us. And as I said, give us a thumbs up and give us a like and all those types of things, because we want to know that we're doing the right thing. And if you're enjoying it, that's good. If not, let us know what you think we could include.
If you want to be a guest, you can come on as well.
Yeah, no problem at all.
We're all happy with that as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
We had Adi doing our summarising the other week, didn't we?
Yeah.
You loved it.
And we spoke to him, and we said to him, if you...
I mean, he's not quite as good looking as Sam Tompkins, obviously, but,
I think he'll be at Piltrex versus Normanton Knights this weekend, because I was chatting to him last night.
Okay.
But I'm sure if they'd have been aware, it'd have been... The Judes versus Shawcross Sharks game, I'm sure would have been really interested. Not only from it just being a good game locally, I think from that Division 2 where Piltrex are in as well, it would have interested him.
So who will be victorious in that one? Get over to the game if you can on Saturday. We'll implore you to do that. But if you can't, or even if you're there and you want to maybe have rugby league from a slightly different viewpoint, you can tune in. Our coverage will probably be a couple of seconds behind, because that's the way that streaming works, isn't it? But you're quite welcome to join us on Mixler. And again, you just look up 13 Pro-Am RL, don't you?
Yeah, and hopefully if you do that, it does add to the atmosphere a little bit more. Certainly if you're, and I know a lot of people go watching community rugby league on their own. So if you want to do that, I would say give it a shot.
And then in Division 3, we've got 4 games that'll be taking place. Dissington host Lee East. Lee East hoping to get back on the winning run, to be honest. But they're going to find it tough up in Cumbria. Driglington host Bentley. Featherstone Lions are at home to Hensingham, and Seaton Rangers, they host Milford. Some cracking encounters, and
East League got no game this week.
No, there's nothing on those fixtures unless you can conjure one up. That is,
I will try and conjure. You entertain the folks.
I'll try and entertain the troops. So again, we'll just run through who's leading what division at this stage. So in Siddle, top of the Prem, 7 wins from 9. Dewsbury Moor Maroons, top of Division 1, 7 from 7. Division 2 sees Shawcross Sharks 8 from 8, and Division 3 sees Dissington 6 out of 7.
No, you're correct. Nothing down. I think it's looking like June for the East Leeds next game, actually.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I mean, there is a couple of weekends as well. Well, there's a couple of weekends anyway where there's no fixtures because they're a team short in Division 3 from where they were expecting to be. But it's all nicely poised, isn't it? All nicely poised. Right, finally, we've got our feature interview. It's one that I've really been looking forward to sitting down and doing with this man. So I managed to sit him down, have a really good conversation. It's none other than Paul Couch. He's the head coach of the England Community Lions. And we discussed his entire touring party and going to Western Australia, where the schedule has been released now.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.
Okay, so we love our feature interviews here on the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show, and I'm delighted to be joined by none other than Lions head coach of the Open Age section. It's Paul Couch on the other end of the line. How are you doing, Paul?
Hiya, Dave. How are you?
Really good, thanks. So I wanted to sort of have this chat really because obviously the squad has come together and has been announced now, hasn't it, for the tour at the end of the season to Western Australia?
Yeah, it's took a while to get there, but over the few sessions that we've had, we've managed to cut it down to the 22 touring squad.
Just remind us about how you came to this decision, because I mean it's been a really lengthy process, hasn't it, with trial games.
Yeah, so we had I'm not certain on the dates, but starting well into last year, we had a training session over in Yorkshire for the Yorkshire-based lads, Lancashire and Cumbria, where we asked clubs to nominate players. we cut it down to the nominations really, and we had just some skill days where we looked at players in Yorkshire, in Lancashire, and in Cumbria. Then we had a second session where we cut it down again in the same areas, more of a game really than anything in that, and looked at them in a game situation, and then it was cut down again to about 40 players in a Red v Blues, and then to cut down again into an East versus West, and then we had to cut it down again to a 27 training squad. 27-man training squad, where we looked at the players in the England environment and the training schedule that we put to them, and then obviously again we've cut it down to 22.
Are you happy with the 22 names that you've now got on the sheet?
Very happy, yeah. I mean, you've seen yourself how well they've bonded, how well they've connected. We've got a good mixture of characters in there as well, so yeah, I'm really happy.
Yeah, there's some great characters involved, isn't there? If we can start first of all by maybe going through some of the backs and your thoughts behind them. So you can't get much further, when you're discussing anybody from the National Conference League without mentioning Craig McShane. I think he's won 3 of the last 4 National Conference League Player of the Season awards.
Yeah, a talent. A talent is Craig is. And I haven't really had much to do with him until this to talk to him, but a player who still wants to learn as well, even though he's won, like I said, 3 out of the 4 Player of the Year. Is just wanting to learn. He's asking questions all the time in training, and just a real talent. A real talent.
Is it nice to see the other side of that? Because quite often, from your coaching days, you'll have been coaching against him, won't you?
Yeah, and not enjoyed that when I've had to coach against him, because he's an hard player to stop, and I think most coaches have struggled to stop him and tried to come up with a game plan for him and struggled to stop him over the last 3 or 4 years. But yeah, Craig's an exciting player and someone that's I'm looking forward to working with.
He's one of a good number of outside backs that'll offer, like bits of versatility to your squad as well, isn't he? Because you've got the likes of Kieran Prescott in there, Lee Easton, Royal Air Force. You've got Lewis Price from Loch Lane in there as well. Connor Parkinson. Even Joel Gibson offers you that type of variation, doesn't he? Both as an outside back, a full back, and half back as well.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted. It's an impact tour that we're going on, so there might be opportunities for certain players to play in different positions. And yeah, Kieran, going back to Kieran was one that I spotted through the President's Cup. Actually, I watched him playing for them, and again, just a bag of tricks. Is Kieran is really got a lot of talent and can play in a number of positions. And what I like about Kieran, and people will say, "Oh, well, he's not playing Prem," but Kieran could have gone to a number of clubs over the year, and he's stuck with his own club in Lee East, and that's credit to him.
And then, you've also got lads like Connor Taylor coming into that squad as well from Wigan St Pat's.
Yeah, Connor Taylor, I saw last year quite a bit of Connor Taylor, and I just like what he brings. He's another one who can play a number of positions. He can play full-back, half-back. He can do a stint at 9 and 13 as well, but he's a running half-back. A really good running half-back and a direct player.
And I touched on Joel Gibson as well. I suppose his story is a bit similar to Kieran's in that, he's stuck with Thornhill Trojans through thick and thin, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I like that. I like that because that shows some kind of commitment. It shows some kind of commitment to what he's trying to do. And believe me, from when I've come against him from a coaching point of view, I've tried to get him in blue and white, and and I don't think I'm on my own with that. There's a lot of clubs that have tried to get him to play at in a Premier level, but Joel's stuck it out through thick and thin with 4-0, and credit to him.
I suppose when you've got players who show that sort of resilience, they're just the sort of guys that you want when you go into Australia, and you know, we could be facing some hostile environments, couldn't we? There's guys that could be playing in, you know, levels of rugby that they've just never experienced before.
No, not all. They could. It's going to be tough over there. It's going to be an high standard, but I'm pretty sure that the squad that we've picked quite capable to go over there and do a job.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just looking at it as well, you've got some big outside backs, haven't you? In the likes of Leon Crellin, Lewis Price, Jay Dearden, Connor Parkinson. Yeah,
all big lads. Probably could all play in the forwards as well if that were needed. Return the ball strongly. Obviously, I know Lewis from Lock Lane returns the ball really well. Can play centre, full-back, wing. Jay Dearden, I've watched over the last few weeks with Hunslet. He really he creates for other players. Does Jake? He can really get some good overs, and he defends really well as well. And again, a big, strong lad. And Leon is a tall lad, really strong. Playing well with Egremont at the minute, so it's a lad that again I'm looking forward to working with.
Yeah, he was amongst the top scorers, wasn't he, in National Conference League 1 last season, and he's carried that forward as Egremont's been doing pretty well so far in the return to the Prem.
Yeah, very, very much so. That's where his name came up from last year, from his try scoring ability last year, and I think he's well up there again this year with Egremont.
You've also got some big fellas, some fellas that'll really mix things up in the engine room as well. So you've got, lads like Matty Stableford from Alton, Chris Siddons, who you know a lot about from Lock Lane, Ben Shulver. I know obviously he plays more back row, but he's big enough to play in the prop position, isn't he? And then you've got the likes of Andy Philbin and Jamie Tracy as well, alongside Elliott Cousins.
Yeah, it's a big pack. It's a really big pack. Just going on some of them players, Chris Siddons has been on quite a few tours. A real leader, well known throughout the NCL, well known throughout the community game. Just Shulver you spoke about. Plays back row, but can also play through the middle and does a fantastic job with leading Hunslet as well. So to be the captain of Hunslet, who's won the Prem for the last 2 years on trot, then he must be doing something right as well. And
I feel like I'm underselling Charlie Tomlinson because I didn't mention him in that group of players, but he's again another one of those that can really dominate a middle, and he's a workhorse.
Yeah, Charlie's a very good player. He's a workhorse. But he's got some skill about him as well. From coming up against him with Loughborough, he's got a bit of skill about him, but we have quite a few of them. The similar kind of players as workhorses. Kieran Glenn is another one. Him, Charlie, and Matty Stableford are similar kind of players. Just work hard for the team, work hard for the community club as well. So it's going to be a good pack.
And I'm pleased for Andy Philbin he's been at Lee Miners for a good number of seasons now, hasn't he?
Yeah, and Andy gives you something different. He'll give you something different in getting you a quick player ball, and taking you forward, and another one with a bit of an offload. So it's quite a I won't say a shy lad, but he needs to come out of his shell a lot more on this tour, and I'm pretty sure he will do.
I mean, that's the thing as well, isn't it? Because you're looking at, you already touched upon the fact that even at this early stage, all these lads are getting on well together, and I think that'll only grow, won't it, between sort of now when we go away, and obviously during that time away, when you're away from your family for a good 3 weeks. you've got to get to know people. You've got to talk, and those are things that these lads will look back on in sort of 10, 15 years' times and think, wow, what a trip.
Yeah, hopefully it is. I mean, it's obviously it's been announced who we're playing and what dates we're playing in, so that's no secret. And it's going to be a tough test playing Western Australia Select, which will be played over in Perth. So it's something that we're really looking forward to, and something that is a massive test for the players, but for the staff as well.
You've also sort of gone for a couple of guys that you've worked with at sort of under 23s level as well, in the likes of Jack McShane and Ellison Holgate. Now, to me, that says that the door is always open.
Yeah, and we said that to the 23s at the end of last year. They said that if we feel that a player's good enough and mature enough to come up and play with the open age and is ready to play with the open age, then we will. Jack didn't actually play last year with the 23s, but Ellison did. Both quality players, but both different players as well. So Jack's matured, I think, over the last 2 years, and become a really, really good player. And everybody talks about Craig, the brother, but Jack's not far off as well. Jack's a really, really good player, and Ellison I've coached a few times now, Ellison, and he's Ellison's got that bit of class at 9.
Yeah.
When Ellison goes and everybody gets on board with him, and Ellison can spot the right time to go. And again, another kid that I've already worked with, but I'm looking forward to working with again.
And another that's comfortable with another couple of positions under his belt as well, isn't it?
Well, they both can play 13 as well. I know Ellison's been playing 7 a few times with his club, but I think we have enough quality in the halfbacks there for him not able to be able to do that with us. But I think that they both offer something different if they played at 13 as well, and that's something that we'll be looking at as well.
You've already mentioned one of the guys who offers you plenty of direction and options as a halfback in Connor Taylor. You've also gone with Dominic Way from Kells and Danny Rouse from Hunslet as well. Obviously, Danny's so well known, isn't he, around Yorkshire Rugby League circles?
Yeah, Danny's a coach on the field. He never shuts up all the way through the game, and whether he gets on the opposition's nerves or your own teammates' nerves, but he's a coach on the field. He'll direct the team round, and he does it well, and he's got an outstanding kicking game as well. Really good kicking game. And we've also got Dom Weir from Kells. I have worked with Dom with a touring team to South Africa a few years ago, but Dom took a bit of time out of the game, and then came back, and I think he's come back a lot better player, a good runner, but also another one with a good kicking game as well.
It's great to hear of players that who if they do take that time out, take that time to come back, and like you say, he's gone on and took his game to another level.
Yeah, Kells had a good year last year, and that was partly because of Dom, the way Dom had come back to Kells, and whatever reason he took the time out for, it's obviously made him a better player and a better person as well.
I'm conscious there's a couple of players that we've not really mentioned yet, in Conor McCallum from Siddle, who was their top scorer last season, and then Jacob Moore from West Hull, and he's again always been a keen part of what they've had going on the last couple of years, hasn't he?
Yeah, West Hull's a funny one because obviously West Hull have been a top team for the last few years, but there were other players involved in the Red v Blues or the East versus West, and they decided for whatever personal reasons that they wanted to pull out of the system, and which I totally respect and I totally understand that. But Jacob's one that Jacob's got a good attitude about him. It's one of them on the field. If you went to war, you'd want Jacob outside of you. He's a tough kid, and what Jacob's got as well is he can play at 9 as well. It does a little bit at 9 for Westall, so that is an option while we go over there. Conor McClellan, big, strong kid, really strong. Runs some great lines, communicates well on field, and that's what we want for him, and hopefully he can take it over there.
There's only 2 players that we've kind of mentioned in passing, in Jamie Tracy, who just seems like he's been around forever, and then Elliott Cousins, who's had a real interesting mix during his playing days. He's had a bit of time in France, he's tried the semi-pro ranks, and to be fair, as Jamie has as well earlier in his days. And again, what do you feel that they offer?
Well, I don't think we haven't touched on your younger brother neither, have we? For sure. But no, Jamie, I've spoken to her quite a bit on the phone, and I just to try and understand with Jamie how he wants to play and what he wants to play, and he's a leader. Is Jamie? He's another one that's a captain. I think we've got 9 players in the team that's captains at their club, and Jamie's another one, and he's playing really well for Fato. I get good feedback from his coach at Fato that Jamie's leading on and off the field with everything he does. So Jamie's another one, can play middle, or can play back row. So until we get over there and we decide what we're going to do with each player, then it's brilliant that they can all play a number of positions. Elliott Cousins is a different middle, where you've got your Matty Stableford who just rolls the sleeves up, and Elliott is a bit silky. He's got a lot of skill. I know he plays halfback sometimes with West Bowling, but we see him as a 13, as a ball handling 13, if we want to play the game a little bit different. So, another 2 great additions to the squad.
And it's good.
And then we'll go back to Conor Parkinson.
Yeah. Our Conor, as he's becoming affectionately known.
Conor is another big, strong running outside back, but can also play full back, wing, centre, which gives him a massive opportunity to play somewhere in that back line, and which is what I wanted from everybody, really, to be able to play anywhere and feel comfortable by playing anywhere. So, and playing well for his club week in, week out at St Jude's. Yeah,
I mean, I think he was saying to me the other week that he's never played outside of the division that St Jude's have found themselves in since he made his first team debut. So, again, it's another, as you said, a real opportunity for him to step up and really take the test, isn't it?
It is, and to work with Premier players who I'm not saying they're always the better players, but they are playing at an higher standard week in, week out, and I totally understand that. But I'm pretty sure that Conor's able to step up to the plate on that area.
As you mentioned, it's really exciting, and the NRL Western Australia have announced the schedule for the tour. It all starts off for us on the 19th of October against an emerging Western Australia side, and then 2 tests on the 24th and 29th of October against the Western Australia NRL men's sides, and then finally culminating in a 3-day nines tournament, the Harmony Cup, which we've had reports is absolutely huge in the area.
Yeah, we'll just touch on the nines tournament. We've been told that it gets up to like 8,000 people coming watching it from all over. They have teams coming from all over, and I believe there's a British team already over there that plays in it as well, so that'll be interesting as well. But that's something that we're looking forward to at the end of the tour. But as priority is the test matches. It's something that we're going over there to win everything that we can do, but just to challenge ourselves against an Australian outfit.
How have you found your initial sort of discussions with the NRL from Western Australia?
They've been absolutely fantastic. The WA have been have been brilliant. I've been lucky enough to drop on a couple of meetings with them, and on what they're offering for us, helping us out is fantastic, and just got enough. And I'm sure Alan Davison will back this up. We've just got enough praise for them completely, what they're doing for us and how they're helping us as well.
I suppose as well you can also say the same for the community clubs, because trips like this don't come cheap, and some of the fundraising activities that have been going on have been absolutely tremendous. I mean, my Twitter account last night was buzzing at the fact that Hunslet had the Stars in the Rights contest, but I know that Egremont have got a number of things going on. In fact, every club's been coming up with really innovative ways of raising money for the players, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's on their Facebook now, on the Facebook. It was fantastic. I know we trained Sunday morning when they did that Sunday tea time, and I think a lot of the lads were nervous doing it. But I've got to say, Ben Shulver were a very good role in keeping. I thought he were very good on the video that I've seen. But yeah, the community clubs have been fantastic, and not just the community clubs, just the community as well, helping the players and just jumping on board. Obviously, I know Chris Siddons and Lewis Price, and they've been doing a lot that I've been able to see on my social media, and just the community helping. And I'm pretty sure they'll be helping every club and in every way that they can. And the spirit's fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
And this is why I love being involved with community rugby league, because everybody is pulling together, aren't they?
Yeah, it's community rugby. It's what it's all about. It's people pulling together, and anything happens in the community, you see on Twitter, but everybody pulls together and everybody's there for each other.
And how are you finding working with these guys?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's a breath of fresh air, really, to tell you the truth. We've got a really good, talented group. But what I will say is, and I said this from day one, we've got the good men as well. So off the field, the good men as well. They're really polite. When we train at Pilks, which is something I'd like to thank Pilks for the training facilities that they give us. It's second to none. And thank John there at Pilks. It's been absolutely fantastic. But the tidy the changing rooms, tidy up after themselves, and just a lot of respect for where we are, and hopefully they're going to take that over there when we go to Australia as well.
I know certainly that my appetite is whetted, and I think you've also found who your karaoke champions are going to be when we go on tour as well.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And I've seen who we're going to be as well with some of the videos as well. But just on that, the staff as well that we're taking, second to none. And I can't fault any one of them. Everybody pulls away. Everybody jumps on board with everything. Everybody helps everybody, and hopefully it's going to be a fantastic tour. Coming back with some good results, but also coming back with some good memories.
Green Cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show cool, even when tackles get heated.
Fantastic to hear from Paul there. We went into some detail there about the squad, but I thought it was worthwhile doing. And fair play to him for taking the time out to explain some of his selections and some of what he was looking for and how some of the guys impressed him.
Yeah. It was absolutely brilliant. That, I mean, to sort of go through all of the players that he selected and find the strengths. What the strengths are and why they picked them. Like you've said, there's not many coaches would do that. I mean, at any level, I would thought, and they would find it hard. And in fact, I would argue at some points they would be advised against doing that to a certain degree. So you've got to take your hat off and say that's great stuff, and I'm sure they'll give all the lads a boost to know what he thinks about him, and the clubs as well.
I mean, like I like to be quite open. Let's be honest. As far as my approach to media goes, I like to be really open. I like to ask open-ended questions. I like people to talk. I like to be involved in conversations.
Yeah, because you get the discussion then, and you get better answers, don't you?
Exactly. And I've certainly seen how some of these boys could add to a squad. And they're right, and they mention about there being little characters that'll really keep there's some really good people. There's some great people that are going to be going on this trip.
Yeah, because I know from speaking to you about your past tours and things that you've been on, Parky, whether it's been with sort of the guys going to Fiji, the girls that you went to, was it Belgrade?
Yeah.
You went to, it's not just the on-field stuff. It's sort of how you cope with being away from home for so long.
Exactly, so you need a variety of different characters.
Yeah,
and you need people who are going to get on, who are going to talk, and are going to communicate. And if someone is having a bad day, you want to be there for that person. And let's be honest, I know I joke a lot when I mention some of the guys when we do our roundups that I went to Fiji with. I still think a lot about that time, and I think a lot about that tour, and I think about how, the experiences that it gave me in rugby league, and it expanded my, knowledge, and I know that any one of those players is only a message away, and that's a fantastic place to be in. You've got them in your, in your corner all the time, and I know that in a lot of what I've done on the Lions programme as well, with the conversations that I've had, people appreciate the fact that you've been there in their corner.
Yeah, and certainly you're looking for, when you're building the team, first and foremost, it's got to be your on-field that you're looking for. But then you've got to look at those people who bring something to, and what you've got to look at is, whilst you're looking at those players from a skill level and how they play the game, weighing them up to see what their attitude's like. Are the players who are disruptors? You think, you're a good player, but if I took you on tour, could you upset the apple cart? And that's, there are a lot of things riding on. It's not just taking the guys away. It's the full package, and everybody, enjoying it. Hopefully getting the results that they want, which would make it even better. But the whole experience as a whole. Can you imagine going away on holiday and you take one of your relatives away and they sort of ruin things by doing stuff that you don't want them to do? It just it blows it out the water. So it's balancing that all out, and it's a very difficult procedure, I must admit.
So a reminder of the schedule, by the way. So the first game on this tour is on Saturday the 19th of October, and that's against a emerging side from Western Australia. Then we've got 2 test matches which come on Thursday the 24th and Tuesday the 29th of October, both against the Western Australia men's side. And then, like I mentioned, it culminates in what sounds like it's going to be a fantastic occasion, a nines tournament that goes over 3 days. And I was looking at the last time that this nines tournament run, and there was 10 different nations in it. Wow. Tonga put 2 sides in. So you're going to be taking on, players of Pacific origin. Apparently there's also a residence, so there's a Great Britain residence team, which is already over there as well, playing in the local Western Australian competition. So they're going to get a chance to play against this Community Lions side. There's all kinds of things that could happen. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I can certainly see a Lee East fullback getting a good run out in that competition, because if you're going to give him some space and time, we'll enjoy that, I'm sure.
To be honest, you could say that with any of the backs.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Because they can all shift. They're all good and strike players, and as that, I think is the word in that gets said, doesn't it, quite often? Right, have I missed anything out, Steve?
I don't think so, mate. It's another packed one as usual, and obviously some great games there that we've done our reviews on, and obviously previewing various games that are coming forward, especially the St Jude's one against Shawcross Sharks.
Yeah, we can't wait for that one. You can join us in that one as well. Join us about 5-10 minutes before the kick-off over on our Mixler channel. So look us up, 13 Pro Am on Twitter. Well, look us up there, but also look us up on Mixler. And what I'll do over the next sort of couple of hours, in fact, by the time you even listen to this podcast, there's possibly going to be a link that'll be on there. But yes, we look forward to that. We look forward to having your company. We thank your company for tonight. Steve, thank you as always.
No problem, mate. You know that.
And again, thanks to all of our guests, to Elijah, to Elliott, and to Paul. We'll catch you on the next one. Enjoy your rugby league wherever it takes you this week.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.